On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
Not broken down
They
according
are,
to
there are
male or
some that are broken
female.
down, lady. They are. I've been to them. I've given back to. They are. I haven't been them for me per
Are you
se.
saying?
I've given
Wait,
back. There are ones
wait, let
separated
me
by
qualify this.
gender.
Lady T, you're in the tri-state area in East Coast, right?
Yes.
Are you willing to say across 50 states there's equal access to DV shelters?
Listen, I'm not gonna put myself in that because I do not know.
Okay.
So
So
What,
in the
what are you
tri-state area
arguing?
and where you're at, you're saying there's equal access where
I
you
give
are.
back and I have experienced
I
being
got you.
in.
Wait up.
Okay,
Right.
but
So
that's your just
so
experience.
so
That's
okay,
not the
okay. Are
overall
you gonna let
census.
me finish or not?
Go ahead.
She asked me a question. What I'm saying is, you guys made it seem as though there are no DV shelters for men, or there aren't,
No,
or they
No.
don't
lady,
exist.
You're
you
just gonna sit
protected
here and
personally
tell
your
that
band.
DV,
now.
No,
We literally
no.
said there's more for women than
Right.
men.
White people. The hell? So she just
Hold on,
sounded
Vince. One thing, just really quick, Vince. Do we understand the number of silent assaults that men suffer at that they don't even report?
bruv.
The hands of black women. And I don't want to do this tit for tat. Because I do think women protect black men in the way that they think they can. I think by and large they do in the way that they think they can, but it's mainly when it aligns with something that's their agenda. What do I mean by that? Typically, if there's a death at the hands of a cop, or if there's something sensationalized, then we see women en masse come out in support of black men. However, when it's time to speak on like patriarchy, we don't live in a black patriarchy. We don't. It's a matriarchy. Our community, our black community, is governed for the most part, influenced by and ran by women. That's a fact. And so when I'm listening to this sister talk, it sounds to me like a bunch of word salad about nothing. And it sounds like I want to be like, I honestly want to ask who hurt you. Did Tori do something to you?
Word.
Like
I can't even say you,
what happened to letting the fact play out? But let me get back to what you were saying earlier, Vin. Like we don't even acknowledge, because nobody cares when it comes to men. We don't even not acknowledge, even though we see tons of video. Women will come out there, bop, 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 swinging a man. The man's like, hold on. He's trying to protect himself, or he's trying to block himself, or he's trying, hey, I don't want that action with you. Woman could do all this. Bop, 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 bop. You know what's gonna happen when the police come out? Hey man, you need to find somewhere else to sleep tonight. Wait a minute, this is my house.
Yep.
This is my house.
Yep.
Wait a minute, I pay the bills here. This is my mortgage. This is my house. Now you need to find someplace else to go tonight. Kayla even said earlier, she said when a woman has to consider shelter for her kids, she says shelter, like going to a shelter. How many shelters exist for battered men?
0.
There are shelters.
No, there's a
DV
couple.
shelters exist.
No. I didn't say they don't exist. I said how many.
Every domestic violence shelter is for both
Absolutely.
men and women.
No, but they have
it's not.
lady. No, they not. They have them separate. At
It's
times, they have
separate.
more women shelters. That's what he's basically saying.
It's
And
literally like 2 or 3 dedicated to men.
Yeah,
on,
there's
man.
not that
We
many.
can't do that. We got to keep it a bean. We can't sit up there and say anecdotally or just to make a point. There are some that exist. No, we know by and large the safety nets exist, and for the most part, as they should for women, right? But this whole concept of what this sister was talking about, I can't get jiggy with that, man. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm like, baby girl, who hurt you?
Oh, daddy.
Like black men, listen, black men ain't asking for nobody to protect us. Why? Because we already know nobody cares. We already know nobody cares. Nobody gives a F. Ain't nobody trying to hear our tears. Don't nobody care about your woman left you, the job laid you off. You know what's crazy? When black men are evicted, we're not sitting, or men, period, We're not sitting there saying, you know what, let me figure out the shelter I can go to so I can get back on my feet. Let me go apply for that EBT card. No, you sleeping in the car, you sleeping in the bus station, you sleeping at the L, you sleeping where you got to sleep, and then you figuring the rest of your life out. And some people are coming from that.
It's plenty of men that go to shelters and get EBT.
You said what?
It's plenty of men that go to shelters and get EBT.
Tell me
Because I used to, my church does, they do on Sundays, they do like, they give out food at shelters, and a good deal of the people that be there be men.
Tell me these plenty of men, because when I go out into Chicago and I serve with Inglewood Barbie, hold on one second. When we're out under the viaduct on 51st and Wentworth, there's maybe 1 or 2 women. If we're serving 45 people, 43 of them are men under a viaduct in a tent. If you go,
I'm agreeing.
Listen, if you go to,
I'm agreeing with you. Same thing here in Florida. That at least over half of the people at the shelter that come to get food from the church are men.
Y'all are talking about 2 different things. There's a homeless shelter, and then there's also a shelter for women, and 1 or 2 for men for DV, domestic violence.
I was talking homeless.
Okay.
Have you ever been in a domestic violence shelter, Courtney?
I'll pipe down
What do you say?
Go ahead.
Have you ever been in a domestic violence shelter?
I have not.
Okay.
I have.
Well, and I have. So I'm telling you,
I've researched
that domestic violence. Okay, you can research, but see, safe houses and domestic violence shelters they're co-sexual.
But we never
not
said they
just-
weren't. We never.
I'm
said
not
they weren't.
okay,
There
but
are
what I'm
some that
saying
aren't.
is, okay, but what I'm saying is, if you guys are going to make it seem like there are halfway houses for men, and then you guys can't say that there aren't like shelters for battered men, because
never
the
said
same.
that.
Say that at all.
No,
I'm not saying that
I did. I worked
you
in
guys-
domestic-
Rilla never said that. Like when
Nor
they
did
say
I,
you
so
think
I'm
it's
trying to
like
switch
a
it to
majority
men.
where everything is absolute. No, he never said that. They're comparing them. There's more domestic violence shelters for women than men, which is true.
Domestic violence shelters are for domestic violence victims.
But
It's not broken down according to male or female.
Now, lady, they are. I've been to them. I've given back to. They are. I haven't been them for me per
Are you
se. I've
saying-
given
wait,
back. There are ones
wait, let me
separated by
qualify this.
gender.
Lady T, you're in the tri-state area in East Coast, right?
Yes.
Are you willing to say across 50 states there's equal access to DV shelters?
Listen, I'm not going to put myself in that because I do not know.
Okay.
So
So
Well,
in the
where you
tri-state area
arguing?
and where you're at, you're saying there's equal access. Where
I
you
give
are.
back and I have experienced.
No, I got you.
being-
Wait up.
Okay,
Right,
but
so-
that's your just
So
experience. That's
okay,
not the
okay. Are you gonna
overall
let me finish or not?
Go ahead.
You asked me a question. What I'm saying is, you guys made it seem as though there are no DV shelters for men,
No,
or there aren't, or they
no.
don't exist.
Lady,
You're just gonna
protected
sit here and
personally
tell that
again.
now?
No,
We
no.
literally said there's more for women than
Right.
men.